Poundcake, you want to take a stab?
Kiss.
Song's called The Trooper. That probably won't help you, but they're British.
Oh, they're British?
They didn't get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame
Did
again.
not get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
The first word is a medal.
Much to the chagrin of...
we could give him a lot of clues and he'll probably...
That's okay. I mean,
yeah.
Iron Maiden is the band that you would be looking for, and they were snubbed again for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which just beggars disbelief. But my thought is always that once a band shows up on the nomination radar, they're setting the table for them to eventually get in. I mean, Rage Against the Machine is one of the inductees for 2023, and they've been on the ballot for 5 or 6 years. So Judas Priest finally got in, I think, last year, but they gave them like the Musical Excellence Award. You know, set them apart, but got him in. So maybe that's what'll happen to Iron Maiden. You know, they figure if they have them in the public consciousness long enough, then when they finally put him in, they'll give him like a Lifetime Achievement Award or something like that. But Greg Harris is the CEO over at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and his response was, hey, we love that people care that Iron Maiden aren't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is genius level PR, by the way. Hey, man, we love that people care. That's a great response for everybody screaming at what idiots you are if you haven't put Iron Maiden into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There are a lot of obvious omissions in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Boston is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Bad Company. Sammy Hagar got in with Van Halen, but he is not in as a solo act. Ozzy Osbourne is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's in with Sabbath, I think.
But he's not in solo,
but again,
which is
as a
crazy.
solo artist, right, his solo career, decades longer than his time with Black Sabbath. So Ozzy Osbourne is... Now, again, I don't think he cares, but as his Parkinson's progresses, I think that we're kind of on the clock to put Ozzy Osbourne into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Last song before the big show today was Mr. Crowley, famously Marilyn Santora's favorite Ozzy Osbourne song. And don't think that that song played by accident before we went in the show there.
Well, thank you.
I mean, it did, but...
In the absolute train wreck blackout of the 50th anniversary show with Ozzy, that is one moment that I remember. I remember coming out of whatever hole I had crawled into that night, and I saw the first probably 40 seconds of Mr. Crowley, and I was like, this is the best day of my life.
I remember when we were all in seats in the pavilion, kind of middle, and Bill was there, and we were all there.
Oh, I had no seat.
No, but weren't we all
we
just...
had like 4 seats, and everyone was, I thought, interchangeable.
We were standing there in the pavilion, I think.
I was always off to the side. I never had a seat.
I had a seat several times.
Yeah.
Because you would just go and sit down. I mean,
also that, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I remember Mary was in front of me, and she was screaming her head off.
I loved it.
And jumping around and flailing her arms. And who gave you a ride that night?
Bill.
I did.
Bill did,
Bill
okay.
picked me up from a bar in Lakewood that I had walked to. I had already had like 4 Christmas ales and eaten an edible when he picked me up.
There you go.
Because I was ready to party. And I wasn't driving, so...
That's how you celebrate 50 years of the Buzzard.
You're welcome.
And that was 2018. There's no way to know what anniversary this year is.
55.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
I know today, May 4th, is my 31st anniversary in radio.
Hey.
Now, if you had told me 31 years ago that this is what I would be doing for a living, I don't know what I would have said to you. But nevertheless, here we are. So Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, obviously, every time they announce the people who are going to get in, you have people screaming and yelling. Iron Maiden seems to be an especially egregious omission. Nevertheless, I have a feeling that like maybe 2024, they'll go, we're finally putting Iron Maiden in. But they would not be alone in a vast firmament of major, major rock acts that are still not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And then again, there are just as many people in the bands who don't care if they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're kind of take that approach. They're like, hey, it would be cool, but, what do you want? And pointing out that Rage Against the Machine has been, nominated 5 or 6 times. They're a much newer band than Iron Maiden. I mean, one of the first concerts I ever went to where I was unaccompanied by a parent. I was the oldest of 4, so all my friends had older siblings. So when I started going to concerts with friends, their older siblings were the ones who would chaperone us. And one of the first concerts that I ever went to unchaperoned by a parent is I went to see Iron Maiden open for Judas Priest. And they had a band called Kick Axe who was opening the whole show up. I don't know whatever happened to them. But that was one of the earliest shows I ever remember. I had to have been 11 or 12 and went with a friend and his older brother. And we were heavily into Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. But that whole new wave of British heavy metal was coming on strong. Everybody's mad at me now about the Dick Goddard thing.
You better not be talking bad about Dick Goddard, my friend. Let me tell you something, Chicago boy. Don't be bad-mouthing Dick Goddard. Got it?
Hey, we got weird-looking people on here in Chicago, too. I'm just saying. I mean, listen, I met Dick Goddard, and he was a very nice man, and I understand I'm just saying, you're on television because you look a certain way, and he was a very, very odd-looking human, but they loved him here. Loved him here. And if you're smart and you really drill down, listen, I've said it before, Cleveland is the kind of media market where you're either on your way up or you're on your way down. And Dick Goddard got here in the 50s or whatever, right? Local guy. And once you get in, especially if you're local, you have way less work to do. You come from outside the market like I did. You got to work to get people to think that, like, you're a cool dude, right? But Dick Goddard, smart.
But that's what people always say about you. Whenever
what a cool dude.
They're like, hey, you work with that cool dude, right? And I'm like, Alan? They're like, that's the cool dude.
I'd argue if I could. I'm just saying that's what people say when you hear them whispering in alleyways.
Mm-hmm.
But
you going to go on that funny bus thing with the cool dude next week?
Hells yes. Wednesday, May 10th, the Alan Cox Show and the Cleveland Funny Bus with cool dude Alan Cox.
Get that tattooed on your arm.
Cool dude,
cool
a.k.a. Captain Fun.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, very, very smart to do that. Because, again, people do move through markets. And if you find one that embraces you, and, again, it's a lot easier to do when you're local. That's why I always thought the Fox 8 ads were so funny. Because Fox 8, as far as, like, the ratings go, murder everyone else. Because their big selling point is, we're all from here, which is not the case. But it's good marketing. We're all from here. It's your hometown. Kenny Crumpton's from Dallas. Chrissy Cable's from Kentucky. Natalie Herberg's from Pittsburgh.
Easy.
But that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the nature of the business. Homa Bash over at Channel 5 just left because she got a bigger gig in D.C. That's what happens. But the promotion is always like somehow things are better. Our people know how to pronounce the streets. Okay, cool.
No, I think that's
People
just
love
how
Dick
it is
Goddard,
anywhere, though, is that you're going to get love in your hometown.
Well, of course. When I moved back home in 2006, it was like, people, because when I had started in radio, producing and doing all that kind of stuff, I had a different name. I had a nickname I used. And so I had to tell people, that's who I was on that show, and it kind of got. But you obviously have way less work to do as a local media public figure if you are from there. That is true. But if you spend enough time in a market too, you can really, people take that as, they're like, all right, you're one of us now. What do they say? They say, once you've lived in New York for 10 years, you can call yourself a New Yorker.
I thought it was once you've cried on the subway, you can call yourself a New Yorker.
Well, no, because you can do that on the first day.
Ding, 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 ding.
You just want to call yourself a New Yorker.
I am a New Yorker. Hey, I'm crying here. Why don't you leave me alone?
But I could live in New York for 20 years and I would never call myself a New Yorker. Right. I've been here for 13 years. I don't call myself a Clevelander because it's not my hometown. And some people are, that's completely fine. I understand where people are coming from there. I certainly know my way around a lot better than I did. But, Dick Goddard, boy, people loved that guy.
He's a good guy.
Because he'd been here for so long.
Spay and neuter your cat.
He was the local Bob Barker.
Yeah. Woolly Bear Festival.
Did he ever leave?
No, he died here.
No. A lot of times you'll have people who are, like I said, the way media works is for a while, if you're on your way up, you're always looking for that better gig. And the market calls you back and you hang out there for a long time, whatever. So what you'll have is you'll have people from their home market who've been there for quite a while. And then somebody calls and they go, why don't you come to Miami and do the weather? And they go to Miami, they'll flop or whatever because they're so another thing that doesn't work out. I wondered if he had ever left and then came back.
No, he had a 50 of his 55 years were the evening meteorologist on Fox 8.
Look at it. Good for him, man.
That's so crazy. That's so long. What an
Yeah.
old guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What in
he was.
1931? His middle name's Dwayne.
What an old guy.
Well, that
and
was the
Mary's
game.
first celebrity crush.
That was the game that we played.
Yeah.
Is it older than Dick Goddard?
1931, bro.
Yeah. Let me give you some money here. It is $1,000, courtesy of the Buzzard Bookie. It's your last few days. Tomorrow night, I think you'll get your last keyword. So every one of these is going to count. I hope you win. Good luck.
This is your chance to bet with the Buzzard Bookie and win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword at WMMS.com. Win. That's win. Enter it now at WMMS.com.
If you listen to us on iHeartRadio, tell me where. If it's from out of state, you can always leave us messages to Mark's in Bayonne, New Jersey, Dan's in Chicago, Jordan's in Carnegie, PA. Susan listens in Niceville, Florida.
I'm recently getting back into the show. I am enjoying it. I'm very interested in this 2 hours to midnight concept. But the one thing I have a problem with is I have not heard once a band mentioned called Dreamwalker. And that needs to be changed, good sir. Thank you and good day.
Oh, played Dreamwalker in week 2. This is why you need to pay attention because we don't re-air 2 hours to midnight. People go, where's a podcast? No podcast. It only airs live. We don't have a podcast version of it. So Dreamwalker is one of the local bands, played them a couple of weeks back. So if you miss a minute, you miss a lot. Tomorrow, no, not
But
tomorrow.
you post all the playlists.
We'll post a playlist. People are like, where do I hear it? You don't hear it. You listen live, 10 to midnight on Saturdays with me, Corey Roddick, Pat Butler. This Saturday night, more local music. I have no shortage of local bands hitting me up. But Dreamwalker has a song called Oathbreaker, played that a couple of weeks back.
What's one that you absolutely will not play and they can just stop emailing you?
Yeah, name him. Name him.
Name names.
Well, no. Here's what I said. I don't want to blow up anybody's spot because it's all subjective. What
Hey,
I
they're still
said
getting mentioned on the radio.
What I said is, if I like your band, I will play it. I've gotten a lot of local bands I've listened to, don't like them, won't play them. Not because I'm not going to go, just because you send me something, I'll play it. Right? This is valuable real estate here. So it's like, I'm not going to do that. But I'm also not going to call them out because they have fan bases and things like that. It just didn't hit me the right way, or the lyrics were awful, or you need more practice, or the production's terrible, or whatever. So I'm not going to say what bands I heard that I don't like.
Just out us. It's mine and Brian's cover band of Swarms of the Thousand Siren Stabboons. And Alan doesn't like my Screamo voice. He thinks that it's not metal enough. When I go on and I
What's
say,
it sound like?
so many bees are attacking my soul. And because it's a swarm.
And then as the world burns.
I want to see the world burn.
I know you were making a thinly veiled reference there to a fantastic band called 200 Stab Wounds.
I thought it was 1,000 stab wounds.
It is 3 Inches of Blood, who I don't think are together anymore, or 200 Stab Wounds. I don't know who you're thinking of.
Signs of the Swarms.
Signs of the Swarm I've played.
That's right.
They're from Pittsburgh. Yep, great band.
Signs of the Stab Wounds.
200 Stab Wounds is the
200
band
signs
you're
of
thinking
blood.
Tow Rope Around the Throat.
You should
Yes.
check out,
Thinking of.
if you like Signs of the Swarm, you should check out Signs of the Shawarma. They
Oh,
are-
yeah. I heard they're really good.
That's really good.
They don't smell so great, but yeah, they're pretty good. So this week, local music from The Last Witch and local music from Mutilation Barbecue,
God, I can't stand
which
it.
might win Best Local Band Name of the Year. I don't know. But a lot of you have sent, so I'm just going through them week to week. And if I like what I hear, I'll hit you back and I go, hey, I'm going to play this on Saturday night. So 2 hours to midnight is Saturdays 10 to midnight with me and Corey and Pat. Grim Reaper this week. Spirit Box, we're doing a sold-out thing Saturday night here at the House of Blues. Lizzie Borden, play some classic Metallica. And if you want to submit something to htm@wmms.com is the way to do that. How was did you see Evil Dead Rise?
I did see Evil Dead Rise.
In the theater.
It was a piece of trash. No, it was. I don't like horror movies, and I got to stop going to see them.
I was underwhelmed. I watched it on Goku. 'cause-
Okay, you saw it.
Yeah, we talked about this.
No, we didn't talk about this
Yeah,
yet.
we did. I said I watched Evil Dead Rise, and I watched From Black. And Evil Dead Rise, I was underwhelmed.
Bloody.
As a huge fan of that genre, I thought the reboot 10 years ago was awesome. This one felt like, well, we're going to put it in a high rise, but everything else is going to kind of, we're going to kill a couple of kids. And then
so gory.
Well, but that's baked into the cake with those movies. That's like what they're going for.
Right, but it used to be gory and silly gory because...
Oh, these aren't
Well,
silly.
it was the 80s.
Yeah, the 80s, and it was really low budget, and now it's not.
It's like
so now it's
so
really
uncomfortable.
gory.
And I want to say things but not give part of it away. The opening...
Cheese grater.
The cheese grater, I closed my eyes. As soon as she reached for it, my hands went to my face, and Brian was like, what are you doing? I don't know if I can say what
I was kind of surprised at how cheesy the effects kind of were. That opening sequence with the drone and everything. I was like, wow, that is really bad CGI.
Well, I'm talking about in the opening scene in the cabin.
Yeah.
With the hair.
Yeah.
I almost threw up. I was like, I looked at Brian and I was
But
like.
that's the first Evil Dead movie you've seen.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen all of them. And so this one I was like, they're kind of going over well-tread ground here.
Okay, that was the other thing. So Brian showed me like the old trailer from the 80s one. And I was like, a lot of these look like shot-for-shot remakes.
Kinda, yeah.
In this specific movie. And he was like, yeah, I mean, I think it's supposed to be paying like homage to it. But it's not. I don't know. It was fine.
I thought this one was just way too similar to the last one, the reboot.
I never saw it.
10 years ago. Great version of great stuff in that.
Well, and I told Brian, I was like, I still haven't fully suspended my disbelief for horror movies. He's like, you have to lower your expectations. Because I was like, dude, there was
I don't know about that, though. Some horror movies are
You have to go in expecting them to be
bad.
What they
Horrible.
are.
Well, there was almost no dialogue. And when there was, it felt cheesy and like, mommy's with the maggots now. Like, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that.
Yeah,
and then there's no motive. I have such a problem with horror movies because they're
evil.
the only
motive. Yeah, evil is the horror.
And that's what he was trying to explain to me. He's like,
played the albums, read from the book.
Exactly. I'm like, why is there always some skin book
An
idiot opens? Just don't open the skin book.
I thought finding the book under the parking garage, I was like, okay, come on.
I liked how they did it, though, with him being like the DJ or whatever. I thought that was kind of cool.
It was fine, yeah. I was
But-
just underwhelmed because those trailers, they compact.
The good parts.
Yes, and I was like, which I know every trailer does, but I'm so excited for these kinds of movies. I go, oh, that's going to be great. And then you watch it and you're like, eh.
There were several parts where I had to close my eyes, like with the wine glass.
Mm-hmm.
That I couldn't handle. I saw part of it, but I kept like, I watched the movie, but the gory stuff, I've been on record as I'm not a huge, huge fan of gore. It's gross. It's not scary. It just makes my stomach feel weird, and I don't like that. But it was okay. I mean, it was fine. It's a horror movie. It's not going to have the plot that I want. It's not going to have the ending that I want. You know, it was entertaining. It was better than that Holy Hell movie or Hellhole or whatever.
Hellhole. It was better than Song of Solomon? Come on.
Oh, my God. Nothing has ever been worse than Song of Solomon.
All right, I've got to take a break. If you want to send a text, 35192 to do that, AlanCoxShow.com if you want to watch, and we'll be back.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS. And everywhere you